The timber industry has been battling for forest restoration for many years now. With sawmills becoming an endangered species, we are hit very close to home with, unfortunately, another mill closure. Hill City is a small town with a population of around 1,000 and is home to Rushmore Forest Products. This mill has been around for over 53 years and has been a landmark for this town. This mill has always brought a great amount of employment, history, and economy to this area. For a lot of people in this town, working in the sawmill and growing their career is all they know. From generation to generation, it has brought life to this town.
What does the sawmill mean to this community? When I came here 31 years ago, it was the industry in Hill City. There wasn't art, there wasn't, the roads were, most of them were all gravel, the side streets and everything. But there still remained a constant all the time that the forest industry was, and still remains, very, very at the top level of the industry in this community.
So the Hill City area has variable resources. One of those great resources we have is the sawmill, or Rushmore Forest Products. Although they're located just slightly outside of our city limits, they are a big part of our town. They have a great social and economic impact on our area. When we look at economics, they not only provide products for construction and for necessary building, but they also provide opportunities to increase our workforce.
The sawmill in Hill City for the community Hill City means a lot. I mean, it's a type of thing that anything and everything related to our commerce in Hill City is nearly related to the sawmill. The sawmill, not necessarily the end use of all of the employees and such, as much as the woods, the forest, the woods workers in the forest, the different people that are laying out sales, the private property that are making the sales, the timber that's harvested, how it's loaded, how it's transported, how it gets back to the sawmill. The sawmill, yes, is important, but without the sawmill, all of that other stuff doesn't happen.
If the Forest Service continues to reduce the sale program, they're the number one landowner here in the Black Hills, and forest products companies rely on the Forest Service for about 80% of the raw material. And what goes with the Forest Service timber sale program, so goes the forest products companies. And you'll see a very direct relationship. The problem is that it's not just a one-to-one relationship. If the Forest Service reduces their program by 10%, you don't see just a 10% effect on forest products companies. You see big steps as they go down. And even though the companies here are all very competitive on purchasing fiber in the Black Hills, they also rely on each other.
Unfortunately, a few weeks after these interviews, the announcement was made by the Forest Service to deny the sale of enough timber harvest for the mill to remain viable. The heartbreaking audio you're about to hear is confirmation of the decision that was made to release 120 employees and 7 contractors.
Most of you guys have been here a fair piece, some of you guys 20 years plus. You know the issues we've had, numerous times talking about timber supply, the cars we've ridden and all that. It's become apparent that we're not going to be able to source enough timber to keep all the mills going. Forest Service is just not going to sell enough. We had to make a decision on reducing production, and this is going to serve as our 60-day notice for Rushmore. And I know you guys right now have got a million questions. We don't have a million answers right now. We'll, in the ensuing days, we will, field every question. We'll have answers for you. I know, like I said, I've known some of you guys a long time. I just want to tell you how much I appreciate you.
For the community and employees, this decision by the Forest Service to cut the amount of timber harvest will change all their livelihoods. With all the shock behind the announcement, we hear the concerns and uncertainties of people deeply impacted.
One of my brothers here that come to work this morning just told me about it and said, "Hey, did you hear that they're shutting the sawmill down just a block from our house?"
What happened today was terrible. There's 25 roughly of us that have been contracted for this mill for a long time, me since 1992. I got 2 kids at home, and we were told today that 30% of our comrades here, including me, they don't know who yet. They're going to discuss that with everybody, but 30% of us are going to lose our work.
Just shocked, basically, because nobody really had any idea that any of it was coming. So when it happened, we just had a meeting about it, and got told about it, and I guess upset mostly that for, like I said, past 12 years, all the hard work kind of is just going down the drain. And for everybody else, just thinking of them, because everybody else has families and everything else too. And it kind of just hurts to know that they have to all go find different jobs along with myself.
It is definitely going to have a negative impact on my family. Not only are we going to lose our insurance, my husband lost his job, but we also live in a home at Rushmore Forest Products, so we will have to move. And then my kids also go to the school there, so we're still trying our best to keep them there, but it affects us all around.
Yeah, it was just a real shock, and it's just made my whole family sad because part of my kids grew up in Hill City, and it's just been a way of life, and their dad worked in the woods and stuff, so it's a real way of life, and it's just sad to see it come to an end.
Yeah, Sawmill's a big part of our community. It's Hill City's heritage. Our Hill City was built on forestry, and a little bit we talked about today about just the sawmill jobs, but then you got the contract crews and the loggers that come in and buy their lunch at gas stations and grocery stores and get their fuel every morning at a gas station, and all that money comes back into our community, which then helps our school district.
Yeah, like I said, I've done this since I was 13. 1992, I started shipping wood to Nyman Sawmills when it was just one sawmill in Hewlett, so I've been through all the steps and stages. How's a guy like me go home and tell my kids that I ain't got my work no more? Sorry, I'll get emotional, because I followed my dad's footsteps, and this is a hard thing to hear,
I've been in the community. There's a lot of support throughout the community, and a feeling of loss. And I think the community will feel it a lot more about a year from now, when some of these people have to move on. The school's going to feel it, the grocery store, the bank, everybody. They're going to feel it. A lot of support.
Oh, it's tremendous. The community around here, Rapid City, Custer, Spearfish, everybody, there's a lot of jobs out there for these guys. That's not what they want to do. It's a lot of these guys, like my day shift, most of them are 20 plus years working here, and this is their life. This is what their passion was. So they got to kind of start all over or do something, but the support of the community was unreal.
And as soon as the article came out, I contacted Secretary Vilsack's office in DC. They knew anything about the community that they had just negatively affected in the Hill City Sawmill in Hill City, South Dakota. And she knew about the closure, and I said, "Do you know anything about the community?" about the size of the town or anything? She said, no. And I said, well, it's less than 1,000 people. This sawmill was the largest employer in the town. You negatively affected 120 employees and their contractors, not to mention the trickle-down effect to all the businesses that do business with them. And she goes, well, we didn't know that. And I said, and I don't know if it matters to you or not, but it matters to the community.
So the Sawmill and Nyman Enterprises in particular have been incredibly good to our community. They donate to our charities, they attend our churches, they support our kids. Their kids are enrolled in our school. Without this sawmill, we'll lose a lot of tax revenue for one, but also a lot of generosity in our community. They've done a really good job of taking care of people here.
The closure that happened here in Hill City, South Dakota is not the first and will not be the last. There are many states that have lost their timber industry infrastructure and are a path of reduced forest restoration. Arizona and New Mexico are some areas that are experiencing extreme landscape wildfires and beetle epidemics because of such outcomes. We the Forest understands that forest restoration can't happen alone. It needs to happen together to protect what we all love and hold dear.
Show your support for We the Forest by sharing this video or buying gear at wetheforest.com.